Think of a number. When most people see or hear the word number, they think of a counting number like 23 or 7. When the test says number, it could be positive, negative, or 0. It could be a whole number, a fraction, or a decimal. It could be referring to any number on the number line. It's important to remember that. If you see the word integer, that is referring to counting numbers, both negative and positive. Negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. That's integers. And again, the word number is more inclusive. It's not just whole numbers. It could be the square root of 2 or negative 3.57. It could be any number. Integers and numbers. Make sure you know the difference. Now let's talk about arithmetic vocabulary. There are a few vocab words you need to know related to the 4 fundamental operations. The result of addition is called a sum. The result of subtraction is called a difference. The result of multiplication is called a product. The result of division is called a quotient. Sum, difference, product, quotient. Know these terms as well because you'll see these words sprinkled throughout the test. Now that we have covered some vocabulary, let's talk about some properties of numbers and how they interact. Don't worry about the names of these properties, but it's important that you understand the concepts. The first property is the commutative property. It's the ability to switch the order when doing addition or multiplication. For example, we can switch the order of addition. A plus B equals B plus A. These give you the same answer. Similarly, with multiplication, we can swap the order around. A times B equals B times A. Again, we can swap the order and get the same answer. This doesn't apply to division and subtraction. If we swap the order of subtraction, we get different answers. 7 minus 3 does not equal 3 minus 7. But keep this in mind. If we rewrite subtraction as the addition of a negative, it becomes commutative. So, 7 minus 3 can be expressed as 7 plus negative 3. And then we could swap the order to negative 3 plus 7. That is pro-level stuff, but something worth thinking about. So that was the first property, the ability to swap the order when dealing with 2 or more added numbers or multiplied numbers. Property 2 is the associative property, the ability to group things. Say we are adding 3 plus 4 plus 5. We can group them and do 3 plus 5 first, or 4 plus 5 first. It doesn't matter, both will give us the same result. It's the same story with multiplication. If we have 3 times 4 times 5, we can group 3 times 4 together, or 3 times 5 together, and do that operation first. Whichever 2 numbers we group and multiply first won't change the answer. So that's the associative property. Addition and multiplication are associative, but subtraction and division are not. The third property is called the distributive property. The distributive property means that we distribute multiplication over addition and subtraction. So, multiplying a number by a sum is the same as doing each multiplication separately. Here's the property in equation form. A times the sum of B and C is the same as A times B plus A times C. Let's put numbers to this. If we are multiplying 5 by the sum of 4 and 2, it doesn't matter whether we first add 4 and 2 and then multiply the sum by 5, or whether we multiply 5 by 4 and 5 by 2 and then add those products together. Either way we get 30. The same distributive property applies to subtraction. If instead we have 5 times the difference of 4 and 2, we can take 4 minus 2 and then multiply by 5. Or we can take 5 times 4 and 5 times 2 and then take the difference of the products. The result is 10 in either case. One final note on the distributive property: if you are distributing a negative number across parentheses, you'll need to carry the negative through to each value that you are multiplying by. For example, negative 3 times the sum of 2 and 4 can be distributed to negative 6 plus negative 12. So that's the distributive property. It will be very useful when we start dealing with algebraic equations with variables.